Hi everyone, this is Bowie and his name from the Distance podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have the pleasure of inviting Jehanara Nabi, a swimmer who recently represented Pakistan in the 200-meter freestyle event at the Paris Olympics. She holds an impressive 8 national records, including a 1500-meter freestyle with a record time of 18 minutes. We'll dive into that incredible 1500 feet in a while. But first, let's give a warm welcome to Jehanara and congratulations on making it to the Olympics.
Thank you so much.
Swimming is often underrated in Pakistan. I'm curious, how did you first get involved in swimming and what motivated you to pursue it professionally?
My dad taught me how to swim when I was very young, like maybe 2 or 3. But I guess I was just like a basic life skill. But because I knew how to swim when I was around 10 or 11, my school picked me for a small school competition and I competed in it and I didn't do too bad. So there was this scout from a local team that wanted me to join for to compete for them at nationals. So I joined that team, and then once I started competing at the national level, I really loved it, and I decided that I wanted to continue swimming and then pursue it as a professional sport.
That sounds amazing. It sounds like you really had a good time in the nationals. Can I ask then, like, I heard there's something about the Phoenix Athlete Program. Can I know like more about like your role in it?
Yes, the Phoenix program, like the Phoenix Foundation itself, is a foundation that helps support athletes from all around the world to achieve their goals of reaching the Olympics. So what happened in my case was that there was a Phoenix camp that was held in Thailand, in Phuket, Thailand, where I was for school. And so I was recommended for the camp by my coach, and when I did the Phoenix camp, the mentors were very impressed and they wanted me to apply for the Phoenix Athlete Program, which is basically the program that helps support athletes on their road to Paris for the Paris Olympic Games. So I applied for the program and I got it. And so through that, basically, Phoenix helped support me financially and also just, emotionally throughout this whole entire process. So yeah, a lot of it is owed to them for my road to Paris.
Jahara, it looks very simple when you explain like the entire process, but we all know it's not that simple to make it to the Olympics. So can you share some challenges you faced on your journey to the Olympics and how you overcame them?
Yeah, definitely. Being an athlete, I feel like obviously you have to overcome the struggles of, having bad training days because sometimes, for example, for me as a swimmer, sometimes I would have a really bad training day, and sometimes that would affect my thinking of, oh, am I even progressing? Am I even good enough? Should I keep swimming? Um, but you know, I started to realize that it's normal to have these kinds of days, and the only way to make this kind of day better is just to give it your all. And so, during those bad days, I just think, okay, if I give my 100% and it's still a bad day, I at least tried. And that effort will be shown on the good days. And also for me personally, I had to move away at a really young age. I moved to Thailand when I was 15. So living away from home at a young age was a bit hard, but obviously in the back of my mind, I had my goal and I wanted to achieve it. And that's what I just used to keep me motivated throughout practice, throughout training. And also just, like we have hard training days. Sometimes like training is intense and you just have to, push yourself because you have a goal and you want to reach it. And the only way to reach it is to push yourself. So I guess those kinds of things, just staying motivated, and just remembering why you're doing what you're doing.
It sounds very impressive, and the fact that you had such a passion for it is truly admirable. So, can I ask then, how did it feel to represent Pakistan at like the 2024 Olympics? Like,
It felt absolutely incredible. It felt like nothing I've ever felt before. I had so much pride. I felt so much honored to be able to represent Pakistan at the Olympics. I mean, yes, it was one of my goals, but I'm not finished yet. I'm still gonna keep swimming, and my next goal is to qualify. But yeah, it was like it was I was speechless to say the least. Like it's been such a surreal dream of mine and it came true. And I just was in awe of the whole experience of representing my country. You know, it's also such a big, like, I wouldn't say burden, but a very big responsibility to hold, especially, you know, as an athlete representing your country. So I was very nervous because, you know, you have the whole country behind you and everyone's watching. But I also took all of the positive energy that I was getting from like my fellow Pakistanis, and I used that as much as I could in the games.
It's pretty normal when you're back at home or like at your place. But like once you get into the Olympics, right? Once you step in the venue, how do you guys like train? Because the events are also taking place simultaneously, right? When do you get the time and how do you like manage the training and stuff?
So basically, at the Olympics, how it works is that each sport has a different venue. So the swimming arena was in a different space as opposed to the athletics arena. So for swimmers, it was pretty easy. Like we had a warm-up pool and we had the competition pool. Both pools we were allowed to use until competition when you could only use the warm-up pool and the competition pool up until 45 minutes before events started. Training was pretty simple, and they even provided a very big gym for athletes to use in the village. Yeah, training just resumed as usual. Like, however, our everyone's coaches had planned their day. That's how it kind of went about because like each arena was separate from one another, and so swimmers were always in the swimmers arena, athletics in the athletics, etc.
Are you guys allowed to like go out of the village and like train into like any private gym or like arenas?
Yeah, you you were allowed to leave the village. You could train wherever I guess you felt comfortable because that our swim arena wasn't the only pool that was available to us. We had two other pools that were available to use for training or for yeah, basically for training. So normally the village buses would take you there to whichever pool you wanted to go. But you could also leave the village whenever you wanted to, if you wanted to go to another gym, if you wanted to even just go out, things like that. Like it was very flexible to leave.
So it sounds like you had a lot of training spaces and being able to go out and explore. It sounds lovely. What does a typical training day look like for you then?
Yeah, so when I was living in Thailand, because obviously my training schedule is going to look a bit different now. So for the last 5 years, the way my program was structured is that we have four double sessions a week. So on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we'd have double sessions. So a swim in the morning and then a swim in the afternoon. And then about 3 to 4 dryland sessions a week as well, so that includes, like, weight training, cardio, things like that. So that and also a yoga session in the middle of the week on Wednesday. So it was pretty, like, pretty structured, there was very little time to do, like, too much, um, but yeah, that's pretty much what the training program looked like for the last 5 years.
So learning about your program seems all very physically demanding. Can I ask how you mentally prepare for the races then?
Yeah, training is very physically demanding, but also aside from the physical aspect of swimming, there's the mental aspect of swimming is very important, especially leading into competition. I'm still trying to figure out my own, you know, way of thinking, the best kind of mindset to have going into competition. But one of the best competitions I had this year, the way that I was very, very well prepared mentally for this competition, and I think it was because I knew I had put in a lot of work and I knew what I was capable of. But also I had a lot of discussions with my own coach, and we talked a lot about what, you know, what I think I can do and what he thinks I can do and just, like, race strategy. So mentally, I feel like, you know, focusing on my race strategy but at the same time, enjoying it and having fun was the best way I could have possibly raced because I produced the best results from that competition. And just like, for me personally, I get very nervous. I have very bad performance anxiety. So just trying to, breathe before my event, just remember to have fun, remember why I'm there, and also remember that this race is not my last race. And so, if I were to underperform, it's not the end of the world. Like, I know what I'm capable of and I know what I can show, so I just have to go out there and show it.
I would second that because we were watching the ceremony and then following up like the swimming contest, you and Ahmed Durrani as well. And one thing that was very common was like you both were like very calm. It wasn't like because the arena, like the swimming arena, is full of people, and when you get out and you see like thousands of people, it's obviously something to be nervous about. But you
Mhm.
both of you guys were like you had control over your nerves, and that was like beautifully amazing to see like and you guys are young, like he's 18, you're 20. It's such a young age to be in the Olympics, right? uh but like I want to know, once you like dived into that water for the race, what was going inside your head, because you can't really hear much from the crowd, right?
Mhm. When I dove in, I'm surprised you think I looked calm because inside I was just nervous.
Believe me, you were calm.
Well, I guess I have a very good poker face. When I dove in, I guess the only thing I was thinking about was, for one, I just want to finish this race so I can be done. And the next thing was also just like trying to focus on my strategy for the race, like playing it in my head while I'm racing and just focusing on like, okay, now I do this and now I do this. Like that's basically sort of what I was thinking when I was in the water.
Any like positive takeaways from your experience at the Olympics then? Like, have you learned anything that makes you really happy?
There's actually quite a few things that, are very positive takeaways from the Olympics. One was that, I was very lucky to have been able to do this experience with some of my closest friends. So, just experiencing such a big event in your life all together as very close friends is something huge. So just the fact that we were all there together, I really appreciated that I could experience it with them. Also, I guess this was the first time that my coach wasn't with me at a very big competition, and I think that had a little bit of a negative impact on me because I feel more confident when I know that my coach is there and I can talk to him before my race and he can, see how I'm looking in the water and things like that. And this was the first time he wasn't there. I guess also for me, a big takeaway is sort of learning how to perform without having like a figure there that's, like, for example, a coach that's you've trained with, like, having somebody who's not there and just, preparing yourself for any kind of situation. I made some great memories. I met some incredible people, so I'm also very, grateful that I was very open and I spoke to quite a few people and, tried to enjoy the moment and have as much fun as I could.
Having met so many people, did you receive any advice from like fellow swimmers or Olympians at the Olympics that you'll incorporate into like your future training and preparation?
Well, I this advice wasn't exactly from my teammate, but he heard it from somebody else and he kind of relayed it back to me. And so he kind of told me that this very famous swimmer, Adam PD, once said that, each Olympics you're a different person. Like each Olympics, you find something new about yourself and you're a different person. Like it changes who you are. And I really understood that because after Olympics ended, I kind of was just like, "Oh, I feel like a different person and I feel like I know what I wanna do for the next 4 years, and I feel even more motivated to keep swimming." And, I have so many different goals now from when I went to Paris and now leaving Paris. And then also after my race, like, I was very down in the dumps because personally I didn't think it was a good race and I was quite disappointed in my performance, but 2 friends of mine came over to me and, they both said, like, "You made it here, and that's enough. All the competitions you've been to this year, all the work that you've put in has brought you to this point, and if you didn't perform now, that's okay because you're not done yet." And I was like, "You're right, I'm not done yet." And that kind of also flipped a switch in my brain where I was just like, "I made it here." I've put in so much work to be here, and that work's not gone to waste because I'm still gonna keep continuing to swim. I'm not stopping now, and I'm gonna be even better for next time. And so, yeah, that's kind of like the advice that I took from my friends, and I'm trying to mold that into my life now.
That's such a huge motivation for like a swimmer being at the Olympics. I mean, one thing that caught my eye like in this Olympics that I didn't knew of before was a 1500-meter race. I mean, it sounds very absurd to like swim for 1500 meters. Considering 800-meter or 1500-meter, it requires incredible endurance, right? So is there a specific strategy or trick that swimmers use to maintain their pace and energy throughout these long distance races?
Yeah, endurance is a very big aspect of a long distance event. I used to be a long distance swimmer, but my limit was always the 800-meter freestyle. And the way to prepare for that is to do a lot of endurance training and a lot of long distance training, because the way you pace a long distance event is that you essentially have to either negative split or hold the same pace for every single 100. So you need to train that very well, because oftentimes people aren't very good at holding the same pace, because some people start fast and they can't hold it, or some people, start a bit slow and then they finish fast, but the time difference between the start and the finish is so big that the time isn't what they wanted. So essentially, you kind of have to. It hurts. It hurts a lot to swim a long distance event because you're basically going fast for a prolonged period of time and a prolonged distance. So endurance training is very important. Long distance training is very important. Yeah, and I feel like longer distances are very hard to swim.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Go on.
Who are your role models in the world of swimming?
My role models right now would probably be Ariane Titmus and Molly O'Callaghan. They're like the two Australian swimmers that swim the 200-meter freestyle, and Molly O'Callaghan holds the world record in the 200 free right now. So I guess like they're both my role models because I really looked up to them throughout my whole, swimming journey, and I really follow what they do. And like I watch how they train because they even came to train at my training center like last year. So just watching them train was incredible, and like just seeing how motivated they are, it does inspire me to work even harder just so I can even be remotely like them.
Did you get the chance to meet both of them in this Olympics?
I didn't meet them in Paris, but I have met them before. I've met them quite a few times, but I didn't actually have the opportunity to like meet them in Paris because everybody was very busy. Everybody was going back and forth, and it was so hard to like catch anybody at a good time because everybody was super focused and things like that. But I have met them before. They've come to my training center like two times. So I met them twice already from there, and I've seen them at other international competitions before.
I mean, Michael Phelps was also there at the Olympics. Did you get the chance to meet him for the second time?
No, but I did meet Michael Phelps at the World Championships that were in Japan, in Fukuoka. He came to meet all the World Aquatics Development scholarship holders because at the time I had that scholarship. So he came to meet us and he gave us like a little talk and just really motivated all of us and just spoke to us about his journey and his struggles and how, like especially a lot about mental health because he's a very big mental health advocate. So yeah, I got to meet him there, but I didn't get to meet him in Paris because he was never on pool deck. Like he was always like in the stands or giving a medal or something like that.
Fair enough. He's also enjoying his time at the Olympics. How has swimming shaped your life outside of the Olympics and like just life in general?
Swimming has brought me some of my closest friends that I now consider family. And so, like, it's brought a lot of friendship and a lot of happiness into my life, but it's also made me very disciplined. It's made me very motivated. It's made me a person that I don't think I would be if I didn't swim. Having to wake up at such odd times in the morning, having to push yourself when you're having hard days, like having to be so mentally strong during competition. Like I feel like all of those attributes are so beneficial in life beyond swimming and life outside of swimming. So yeah, definitely like swimming has very much had a big positive impact in my life and shaped it and made me the person that I pretty much am today.
I want to get to like the questions that the people are most interested in, including the bets. There's been quite a buzz about those infamous Olympic bets. So, how did you find them? Comfy enough, or are they really as bad as people say they are?
So obviously they're not amazing because it is a cardboard bed. Personally, I didn't find it that uncomfortable, and but it wasn't like insanely comfortable. Like I wasn't having the best sleep of my life. What a lot of people didn't notice and didn't know is that you could actually change the comfort level of the mattress by just flipping it over. But I didn't realize that until my last day, so I just didn't bother. But yeah, I mean, the beds weren't super comfortable, but for me personally, it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. But yeah, for next time, I genuinely hope that they have a better solution because 90% of the athletes despise those beds. They hate them. And I would agree.
I mean, that does make sense. If somebody takes my mattress away from me and like just put like that damn thing over it, like I'm gonna be pissed off. So
Fair enough. That bed does not look very comfortable, especially how it's made of cardboard. Now, onto some more gossip. Did they let you take that Samsung Fold with you, or was it just for like in the Olympics?
Yeah, so every athlete gets a Samsung phone and we get to keep it like it's ours. So it's the newest, I believe the Galaxy 6, like the flip phone. I'm not really sure what the name is, but yeah, and it's the Olympic edition. So almost every athlete gets one. And it's just for athletes, not for team officials, not for like coaches, things like that. It's like specifically just for the athletes.
I mean, can we get the opportunity to see it if possible?
So I have my cover on it, but this is basically like, I don't know, like this is the front part and this is the back. Like I put the case on it already,
Amazing.
and yeah, like when you open it, it kind of like looks like this.
It looks
Is
gorgeous.
it your like
It's dead. So yeah.
is it your first flip phone or have you had like
Yeah, I've never owned a Samsung before, but I really like this one. The camera is amazing. There's so much storage, and it came with a built-in SIM, the French SIM. So I can basically use this phone like anywhere in Europe, and I would have like Wi-Fi or data and things like that. So yeah, pretty nice phone to have. Very handy.
Sounds perfect.
right now I only have like one question in my head. How do I get into the Olympics? So I want that phone.
Ah, yeah. Well, pick a sport, any sport, train for 4 years, and then if you're the best in our country, then you get to go.
I would rather buy it. I'm fine.
In the Olympics, athletes are called out from rooms before the competition. I heard it's quite an intense moment, especially with like such a packed arena. How was your experience entering the arena?
Just before the race, we were all standing in a line, just waiting to be called. And in my head, I was just like, I'm not gonna look up because I saw what that arena looked like. I saw how many people were in there, and I was like, if I look up, I'm gonna choke. Like, I think I'll be freaked. And just before the race, there was a swimmer standing behind me from India, and I said best of luck, and we shook hands, and then they called us out, and we were walking, and as we were walking, I was like, oh, I just need to keep looking at the floor. It's like it's almost time. I have maybe about 1 minute before it's go time. I just have to focus and just keep looking at the floor. And yeah, I just kept looking at the floor, kept looking at the floor. I got to my block. I took my jacket off, got prepared. I was just staring at the pool for a little bit and I was like, okay, it's real now. Like things are getting real. And yeah, never once did I look up to see what the arena looked like because I was so nervous. I was so freaked. I was like, if I look up before the race, I'm gonna choke. So yeah, that's pretty much was going through my head at the time.
You said like you were looking down to the floor, but your fellow mate Ahmed Durrani wasn't like interested in looking at the floor, and instead he was just like looking up above, like in the crowd, and he was smiling. Like, have you seen that video
I
of
have
Ahmed
not.
Durrani?
I actually, because Ahmed raced while I was warming up, so I didn't get to actually watch his race, unfortunately.
Do you want me to show you like on screen share?
Yes, please. I would love to see that video.
It was something that made me laugh. So,
I'm not gonna lie,
and I
I
was so
either.
it is something that you don't get to see like in every event. And I was just like so happy seeing him smile like that. Now look at this. Everybody's just like coming out so seriously. And then there's Ahmed Durrani. Just look at it. Have you seen
You
it?
know, as he should. I'm so glad that he took that in.
It's so important that you keep yourself calm. And when I said like you both were like damn calm, just look at him, right? It's like he's just so well prepared for it, and he's ready to enjoy it.
He looks really happy,
Yeah,
like he's enjoying it. And I'm all for that vibe.
I am so happy that that's what he looked like. Because, you know, he genuinely he had so much fun. He took in every opportunity that you could possibly take in. He was very good at talking to people. He was very like we got these pins. Every country gets these pins that you get to exchange. And every single second, without fail, Ahmed was like, "Oh, do you want to exchange pins? Do you want to exchange pins?" with like every other person that would walk past. And he exchanged so many more pins than I did. I only have maybe like a quarter, not even half of the amount of pins he had because he was really taking in every single part of the experience. And yeah, I'm just so glad that, you know, he was able to smile and wave at the camera as opposed to me.
I mean, we could watch this video like over and over again and never be bored. Like it's something that
Yeah.
will be memorable. Like after 50 years,
Yeah.
when the young generation's gonna see it, they're gonna be like this Olympian. So
Yeah.
He seemed like he was enjoying it very much.
Yeah, no, he was.
So you've competed in the World Championship like so many times, set 8 national records, and qualified for the Paris Olympics. Like, what's next on your list? What goals are you aiming for now?
Well, I didn't qualify for the Olympics. I got the universality spot. So my next goal is to qualify for the Olympics. Um, and like, yeah, I have these national records, but I obviously like still want to get faster and faster, and I still want my times to progress. So yeah, like the next few years, the goal is just gonna be like progress my times and obviously like try to place better in international competitions and just see how the journey goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like just keep progressing and you know, just keep pushing for better results.
It's great that it sounds like you know exactly what you're doing. What advice would you give to like younger athletes that are aspiring to compete into the Olympics?
Well, I would definitely say that, you know, you should do it because you love to do it, not because you're being forced to do it. Because doing any kind of sport, you have to be in love with it to be able to put up with the day in, day out training and day in, day out arguments with your coach and day in, day out mental, you know, challenges that you have to face. You have to love what you do. So if you really, really love your sport and if you really love what you do, stick to it, stay motivated, don't stop just because you face an obstacle because the other end is going to be very fruitful. And yeah, just, you know, have fun, enjoy what you do. Don't take it too seriously to the point where you're overthinking everything. Be prepared, strategize, but have fun, work hard because nothing is easy in life. And yeah, just do what you do because you love to do it.
so now we're down to like our last question. How can more Pakistanis have the chance to compete in the Olympics, and what do you think can be improved to support more athletes in the future?
I think definitely more Pakistani athletes will be able to compete in the next Olympics or in the next Olympics to come, but that is only possible with support. That is only possible with the right attention being given to sport in Pakistan. We need to be supported. We need to be supported financially. We need to be supported emotionally and mentally because swimming on its own is a very non-existent sport in Pakistan. It's very looked down on. Not that many people know about it, not that many people follow it. Most of the eyes go towards cricket, which, you know, is fair. It's a very important sport in our country. But there's so many more athletes that can do so much given the right facilities, given the right support. And I just feel like moving on into the future, federations and organizations in Pakistan need to look towards supporting athletes because the results that we can produce given the right accommodation can be so monumental. Like look at Arshad Nadeem. He was our first individual gold medalist for Pakistan and he was the first gold medal we've had in 32 or 36 years. Like, and I feel as though we should all be able to be like him. I mean, he barely got any support from anyone, and he got to where he is today. So imagine the youth of Pakistan receiving support, and imagine what they can do with that in the future. So yeah, I genuinely think that our country has so much potential, and I think that it can be so much better with just the right facilities, the right people supporting us, the right attention, especially through media and social media, and the public as well, which can only take sport further.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I believe like after Arshad Nadeem has scored a gold medal, there's going to be a lot of attention towards the next Olympics. And I hope like
Hmm.
the private sector and the government sector would put in the effort to like support these athletes.
Once again, thank you so much for your time. We have thoroughly enjoyed you sharing about the Olympics, especially about your open mindset, endurance, motivation. And personally, I find it very admirable that it takes a lot of courage and determination to practice and make such an impact in the sporting world. Thank you so much for your time again. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode.